Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today in this valuable webinar class on natural treatments for hair loss. First, we'll talk about signs and symptoms of hair loss beyond just the fact that your hair is falling out and thinning. And then we'll talk about causes, which is really the most important aspect of a treatment because there are various causes of hair loss. And for you to treat yourself or you to successfully treat somebody else, you have to identify these causes, a little bit like an investigator, has to investigate to understand what the cause is. And of course, this is the biggest mistake people make is they just start taking some hair lotion or oil without really understanding the causes. So we'll really spend some time on the causes, and then we'll talk about how to overcome these causes, particularly the nutritional ones, by discussing the diet that's necessary or helpful. And then we have, of course, some herbal products. We have herbal oils and herbal product, both for hair loss. And we'll cover those at the end. So let's start off with signs and symptoms of the degenerative tissue called Ashidatsu in Ayurveda, which is considered the bone tissue. So in the nails, the fingernails, and the hair, I got plenty here. They are the waste product of the bone tissue. So we can understand the condition of our bones greatly by looking at our own fingernails and our condition of our hair. So generally, if our hair is falling out, our nails are soft, brittle, breaking, then this is a poor sign of poor bone tissue, which of course we know is a very dense tissue. Ayurveda made of kapha and vata and has a lot of minerals in it. So, a lot of times this is related to mineral deficiencies. So if we want to understand the condition of this tissue, which includes our hair and nails and bones, one way we can do it is look at our fingernails. And if we look at our fingernails, if we see deep vertical ridges, this is a sign of poor, development of this tissue, which is your fingernails, and also reflecting the condition of your bones. So a lot of times when I have a person whose hair is thinning, falling out, and they're having deep ridges in the nails and are soft nails, brittle nails, then we can also conclude that there's a degenerative bone condition. Other symptoms are a lot of tooth cracking, tooth breaking off, cavities. These are other signs and symptoms of this degenerative tissue, which includes our hair. Now, of course, when you're combing your hair, if more than, a lot of hair is coming out in the brush, are coming out when you shampoo, this is obviously a clear sign. And when you have receding hairline, thinning hairline, then this is also a clear indicator. So it's quite obvious when you have this. I just wanted to talk about other symptoms such as the vertical lines in the fingernails. If you don't have these vertical lines in the fingernails, but you have hair loss, it's usually not as deep, not as severe as somebody who has both, like osteopenia, osteoarthritis, hair loss, and deep ridges in the nails. So it helps us even to judge the depth of the depletion in this tissue, Ashidatsu, to know to the degree in which it needs to be treated. So the most important part here, though, as I mentioned in treating hair loss, is identifying the cause. In fact, it's really the most important part of almost every treatment, whether it's you're talking pain, you have to discover the cause of the inflammation. It could be diet, it could be toxins in the joints, toxins in the muscles. It could be something the person's doing every day with their diet. So we have to get to the bottom of the cause of every condition and always treat the cause. The most common cause of hair loss is low protein diet. So we see this with vegetarians who are not having sufficient protein. Unfortunately, a lot of vegetarians don't know how to be vegetarians. They don't realize the importance of legumes or beans as their protein source. Of course, in third world countries, South America, Southeast Asia, we see that beans, whether it's pinto bean, and black beans in South America, or mung bean and lentils and dal in Central Asia, they're eating these multiple times a day while they're living on a vegetarian diet. So they get the sufficient protein from these legumes, which is the most common source of protein in the planet, according to the WHO. Of course, we can't take all their advice seriously, but I think they may have this right, that legumes are the major source of protein worldwide, 70%. So we see in the Western society, we rely a lot more on animal protein. But this low protein diet doesn't mean necessarily you have to have animal protein, but you do have to have sufficient protein. And this can be determined through your blood work and just investigating the diet. Now, of course, we know that dairy, milk, particularly goat milk, and it's very building in the bones. We know Weston H. Price, he did a lot of research traveling around the world, investigating who had the best teeth, and he determined it was those who were having high-fat dairy, not low-fat dairy. And of course, they were having raw milk, raw goat milk, not homogenized and pasteurized, which is what's given milk a bad name. Now, if you're a thin, cold, light, dry, active type of person, which is vata qualities, so you're vata dominant, vata prakriti, then cow milk may be very difficult for you to digest. And of course, after menopause, estrogen levels drop for women, and they can have degenerative bone conditions, and often that accompanies hair loss. And that's when they need to have more dairy and more protein actually in their diet. And if they're overweight, you don't want too much protein, so the dairy tends to be the easy solution. But if you're a vata type of person, then cow milk is often difficult to digest. And many vatas will say, oh, I can't drink milk, I can't drink milk. But if they have goat milk, which is available in the stores, particularly raw goat milk, you can still find it, and warm, and at night, then you find that this is much easier to digest for this vata type person. Now, a pitta type prakriti, a person is a warmer body temperature, sharper feature, sharper mind, and slightly oily, and has tendency for acid reflux, high body heat, warmth. They'll do better with cold cow milk because this is cooling compared to warming and soothing, and is the fastest way really to build your bones back if you know that the cause is depletion or poor nutrition, is this goat or cow milk. However, if you're overweight, have fatty liver, and additionally high cholesterol, then milk and cheese would not be a very good option. So we could just increase the legumes and the beans to get the protein up. The next most common reason for hair loss, particularly for young women during their menstruation period, is anemia. So if you're in this category and your face becomes pale easy, and you're very tired, and after your menstruation and you have a paleness, you could be anemic. And of course, it's very easy to see if you're anemic. You just roll under your eyelid there, and you look under the eyelid. And if you got a white, shiny moon, then you're anemic. You're not seeing the red blood cells. And if you see a lot of pink under there, then you're okay. And if you're a young woman during your childbearing ages and having regular menstruation, it's very good to keep looking in the mirror and looking under your eyes before menstruation and see how much red it is. You got to roll it down a little bit and look right in there, and there should be plenty of pink. Then after menstruation, it becomes like a moon. It's so white, it's just like a sliver of a moon. Well, then you know you're anemic. And the face becomes a little more pale too. You have lack of color in the face. So anemia is another common reason. Of course, there's other reasons for anemia besides just menstruation or excess menstruation, but also, many serious digestive issues like ulcerative colitis, inflammatory bowel conditions can also lead to anemia, which would mean you'd have to treat the ulcerative colitis, inflammatory colon condition, and take some safe, iron supplements and to overcome this hair loss if you're anemic. And then other reasons, of course, there are these hormonal balances. Both men and women can have hair loss due to hormonal issues, and particularly women on birth control. We see this quite often, where women on birth control start having hair loss. And sometimes you can ask a woman, after menstruation, you tend to lose more hair, and when you're brushing your hair. And if it's clearly evident that it's happening more after menstruation, could be due to the hormonal imbalance and the anemia both. So this combination, you say the woman is thin and also not having dairy, vegetarian life, having excess bleeding, tendency towards anemia. These are like 3 or 4 causes for hair loss. So this is how we could get even a young woman in her 20s losing hair. No dairy, not having smoothies and coffee instead of, protein and building foods, and then having excess menstruation bleeding, even resulting in anemia and possibly even hormonal balance. So you could have hormonal balance, nutritional deficiency, such as protein and iron, and the combination can definitely be a cause of hair loss. Now, other reasons for hair loss, of course, are the shampoo that you're using, overwashing your hair. Hair dryers are really disastrous for your hair. Hair dyes, hair chemicals, hair treatments, all damaging to your hair and even your scalp. But even just overwashing your hair, drying it out, can be a cause. So I always recommend different shampoos. This is a company that I recommend, and they got a pre-shampoo conditioner, and Ayurveda, puts on the moisturizing the conditioner, we could say, before the shampoo, and that's why it says pre-conditioner, pre-shampoo conditioner. So you lubricate the hair first, so it's not dry. Let it sit, and then wash it, so it doesn't dry out. And of course, other reason could be type of dandruff, scalp problem. There's type of psoriasis that's in the scalp that will also lead to hair loss, and that's treated separately. Hormonal issues are treated separately. Type of scalp psoriasis or skin issue is treated separately. And of course, women during pregnancy can also lose hair. But today we're going to focus on the common causes that are generally nutritional, and that would mean a person, if they're not overweight or have fatty liver or very high cholesterol, would be encouraging even goat milk or cow milk, depending on whether you're vata or pitta, and also some dairy with the food, some goat cheese or other cheeses. Dairy, basically, just like Weston A. Price discovered it was those people who were having raw milk who had the best teeth in the world. So it's been known for a long time that dairy does build bones, makes your nails stronger, and makes your hair more full. So you'd have to increase the protein and increase the fat and avoid being anemic with your diet. And then stop washing your hair so much. Maybe just rinse it off instead of using strong shampoos. Get a better shampoo. Don't use hair dryers. And of course, avoid any type of dyes or chemicals on your hair. Those would be the first things you could do. Now, there are, of course, many herbal oils for hair loss. And here's one that we sell here. And Bringraj oil is the most famous one in Ayurveda. This is a hair oil that we bring from India, and it's got Bringraj and Brahmi and Amlaki and a little hibiscus and rose in it. The Bringraj is known to help with the hair. So just sometimes in hair oils in India have just pure Bringraj oil. This one has a little bit more. It has Bringraj plus Brahmi, which is cooling for the head and cooling for the mind, and has Amlaki, which is of course very nutritional and antioxidant and also good for the oil, hair. But the key ingredient, and probably 70% of that formula, is the Bringraj oil. And also, as I mentioned, heavy shampoo and drying out your hair is a problem. Also, too much heat is a problem, not just the hair dryers, but hot showers. So I tell people, if you're having hair loss, don't put a hot water on your head. It's one thing to put the hot water on your neck and your shoulders for some muscular relief, but don't let the hot water hit you on your head. At least turn it down to lukewarm. And if you are to use a hair dryer, don't put it on high, put it on low, because heat is an enemy of the hair and dry is an enemy of hair. If your skin is very dry and your scalp is very dry, then you need to overcome this dryness in your body, which could be to a low-fat diet can create this. Forms of dehydration can lead to this. So the dehydration needs to be treated. And of course, I have many videos and talks on overcoming dehydration. So like I said, it could be dehydration, could be hormonal, could be nutritional, it could be your shampoo. There's many causes of hair loss, and you need to identify those. So the oil does work very well, and it's put in the hand and it's massaged in the scalp and left overnight and gently washed off in the morning. We do have another product here called hair and nails, because like I said, this hair and nails, they are related. There, we're just getting the focus here. Oh, well, we're just, it doesn't want to focus here today, but I can assure you that says hair and nails on there. And the first ingredient is, again, the Bringraj. Second ingredient is the Amlaki, the same in the oil. And there's Brahmi in it too. So it's got the same 3 herbs in powder form as here is the oil of these herbs in the oil form. But it also has Buma Malaki, Gotakol, little ashwagandha, licorice, and Pravopanchment. Pravopanchment is made up of 5 things from the ocean. This includes coral and pearl powder and shells. And these are, of course, very high in calcium. So it's a type of treated coral powder is in there. And Pravopanchment means 5 things from the ocean. And one of those, the most important being, is Pravopishti, which is prepared coral. It's not pure coral powder, but they've, in Ayurveda, they've treated it and cooked it to make it more digestible. So Pravopishti is very high in calcium and minerals, and it's used in this formula, and it's also used in our bone building formula. There's our bone building formula. There we go. It's pretty hard. I think it's even backwards too here today. So it says high in calcium and minerals for building bones, good for low bone density and osteoporosis. And it's got, of course, there's that Pravopishti again, which is the coral, and moringa, which is popular, we know, and it is very nutritional. And Ashti Shringala. Ashti means bones. It's so, one of the tissue in Ayurveda is the bones. And Ashti Shringala is an herb that is known to build bones. So even the herb is called Ashti Shringala, named after bones. And even the leaves, they look like little bones. So that is the main ingredient there, plus a few others, including this coral. So, if the bones are degenerative and the nails, sometimes we'll give both products to people and tell them take 1 teaspoon of each in some cow milk or goat milk. So, so this is the way both of those products should be taken, is usually at night. It's better because we absorb the calcium and the minerals best at night when we're not physically active. And you can use a couple teaspoons or 1 teaspoon of each formula if you're degenerative bones, and mix it in warm cow milk or warm goat milk. And maybe if you're overweight and you're obese, we would just use almond milk. And then, of course, the hair oil massaged in every night. And with a change of diet, this is very effective. We also have some Western herbs that help. I mean, if this was a main issue, I can also provide this vitamin mineral tea. And this vitamin mineral tea, it's got alfalfa, which is what my horse lives off of, nettle and horsetail, hibiscus, lemon peel, cinnamon bark, and coriander. But it's this horsetail that's very nutritious and has the calcium and minerals in it. Of course, nettle and alfalfa also are very nutritious. And the peppermint is just so it tastes a little better, and cinnamon, coriander, and stevia also just so it tastes a little better, because this alfalfa and nettle are very bland. And I give this out to children or people with, nutritional issues. But if hair is the person's main issue, we change the diet, make it more vata pacifying, which would include animal products, fish, chicken, dairy, 3 meals a day, and particularly dairy. And then this formula, one of these 2 formulas, in some warm goat milk. And then maybe in the morning, even give them a superfood, because superfood is also very nutritious, having wheatgrass, spirulina, chlorella, and there's some ashwagandha in there, beetroot powder, cumin, cinnamon, ginger, and kelp. So it's a very nutritious formula. So, we're overcoming the nutritional deficiencies in this issue. So, and that's generally the main cause. Fasting, skipping meals, living off of coffee, living off of smoothies, big weight loss sessions where you're losing weight for quickly. This can all lead to hair loss. Now, if there's hormonal issues involved, and these are treated separately. If there's anemia, then there's other dietary recommendations involved, and we do have some anemia formulas as well, which would be given separately. But these are our main formulas. We give the vitamin mineral tea, give a hair loss formula, and the hair oil, plus a vata pacifying diet, which includes animal protein and usually goat milk being the preferred of the 2. And the results have been very good. And of course, you have to be, have good digestion, good elimination. If digestion's poor, you can have malabsorption. Malabsorption can also lead to nutritional deficiencies, and nutritional deficiencies are often the base cause of these conditions, usually compounded with other issues like hormonal or, use of hair dryers or poor shampoos. So a very straightforward, easy condition to treat if you understand the reason and causes behind your hair loss. So it's very important to be honest with yourself and look at your shampoo and the way you treat your hair and what you've been doing with your hair and the quality of your shampoo and your diet and whether you've been depleting yourself, skipping meals, fasting, just living off of juices, and maybe been on an extreme, diet for too long. This could be the cause of your hair loss. So you can still lose weight without losing your hair as well. That would be the goal. So I hope that helped you, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope it helped you understand how to treat your hair. And please contact me if you need more assistance or any of these products. Thank you very much.